Vampires. They have been a staple in horror movies since their inception. And the king of all vampires, Dracula, has some amazing interpretation over the years. But one of my favorites has been a little underrated film, Batman vs. Dracula. Look, I know what you're thinking. Hey Luka,
That's me.
you know that's just another Batman movie. Well, you know what? You're kind of right. Except it's considered a superhero horror movie, so take that. But I'm counting this because unlike other Dracula films, I was legitimately scared of this as a kid. I was so traumatized by this movie that I actually wanted to sell my DVD just so I could get away from it. And keep in mind, I saw the original Dracula by this point, so you're in for a ride. Just for some context, these two titans have fought in the comics before, but this is the first time we've seen them face off on the big screen, at least one that's not an unauthorized fan film. The film begins in infamous Arkham Asylum. It's basically the psych ward for Batman villains who aren't the common crooks. An unnamed inmate tells the Penguin that there's hidden treasure in a crypt in Gotham Cemetery. Of course the Penguin's interested. The one catch is, he's told someone else. So now the Joker and the Penguin are in a race to see who can find the treasure first. The Batman, yes, they call him The Batman because it's the title of the series that this film is based on. Most of the designs of these characters are taken directly from the show as well. Anyways, the Batman chases after Joker.
A man has fallen into the river in Lego City
Due to being electrocuted by his own supercharged joy buzzers. Yes, in the first 10 minutes of this film, Batman's arch nemesis is supposedly dead. Wow, Warner Brothers.
It broke new ground!
But if you know anything about the Joker, he doesn't stay dead for too long. Penguin enters the cemetery scrambling to find the hidden loot. He mistakenly goes into the wrong gravesite and injures his hand. The resulting injury leads to the resurrection of Dracula. Apparently Dracula had been moved from Transylvania to Gotham City after his death in a previous iteration. Dracula, through hypnosis I'm guessing, forces the Penguin into servitude. Basically he acts as sort of the Renfield role to Dracula, guarding his coffin during the day and showing him around Gotham City. Dracula's out for blood. Literally. Dracula's got the munchies, so he starts to turn the entirety of Gotham City into an army of vampires. The media coins the term the Lost Ones for each of the disappearances. One of the lead reporters, Vicky Vale, she's the redhead, is also interviewing and dating Bruce Wayne. Actually, less interviewing and more like dating. The Batman is out on patrol one night and tries to stop what looks like a typical mugging. He witnesses a vampire attack but decides to do, well, not too much. Batman is a little bit skeptical when it comes to the supernatural. Bruce Wayne is hosting a corporate party at Wayne Manor celebrating this solar energy storage machine. It basically harnesses the energy of the sun. Don't worry, this becomes integral to the plot later. So file that fact away for later. Dracula arrives at the party disguised as a cultural anthropologist.
Alucard. Dr. Alucard.
Yeah, he just spelled his name backwards. Look, I tried doing the same thing for my Minecraft player name. Yeah, that didn't fool anyone. He claims to be in Gotham City to be studying the Batman. Personally, I think he's just jealous. See, Dracula has an interest in Vicky Vale. He stole your girl. So Dracula tries to bite Bruce and fails. Thanks to Alfred. Alfred has been acting as a waiter this entire time, and has been acting like kind of a dick. The waiter Alfred has been yelling at all night has been bitten by Dracula. Alfred realizes that something's off when he can't see his reflection in the mirror. Bruce puts two and two together and realizes that Alucard is Dracula. Did he really have to write it out? Wow, congratulations Bruce, you're officially smarter than a 5th grader. World's greatest detective, everyone. Citizens are continuing to be turned into vampires, and eyewitnesses of the attacks seem to see a bat-like creature as the perpetrator. It's mistakenly reported that Batman is the culprit. To be fair, there aren't that many people running around looking like that, are there? Batman is now convinced that Dracula is behind the disappearances of the lost ones, and goes to Gotham Cemetery to look for Dracula's lair. Of course, the police are patrolling the area, and Batman is chased around by a SWAT unit. I really enjoyed this scene because it reminds me of scenes from Batman Mask of the Phantasm and Batman Year One. It showcases how truly powerful Dracula is in this universe. He's faster, stronger, and even has the same level of intellect. When you go toe-to-toe with Batman and are winning, that's truly impressive. I mean, Batman fights Superman in this universe, so Dracula even offers to let him join in the takeover of Gotham City. How considerate. Batman refuses, so he just continues to beat the shit out of him. Batman's a goner if it wasn't for the cue sound effect, the sun. Vampires hate daylight just as much as
Garlic.
so Dracula disappears back into the shadows, vowing to kill Batman for rejecting his offer.
Next time, we do not part until maggots feed upon your flesh.
This is supposed to be a kids' movie, guys. At the cemetery, Joker appears alive after all. Surprise! To absolutely no one. He believes Penguin has already found the hidden treasure and chases him all the way back to Dracula. Now Joker's ended up another one of Dracula's victims, which leads to one of the darkest scenes in this entire movie. Joker attacks a blood bank like a freaking animal hunting for food. There's this one shot where actual blood rains down on the Joker, covering his face completely. I just saw Nosferatu, and there was nowhere near this amount of blood. And that film was rated R. That's insane. Batman captures Joker and brings him back to the Batcave. Batman begins to take more of a scientific approach, trying to cure Joker and creating an antidote. Alfred discovers that Dracula once had a vampire bride who had been killed by sunlight and wants to use Vicky's soul to resurrect her. He's so focused on finding a cure that Bruce stands up Vicky for their date, which actually leads to Dracula kidnapping her from the subway. After a lot of trial and error, Batman finally cures the Joker and returns him back to normal. As normal as the Joker can get. Back to Arkham you go. Batman locates Dracula's lair in the catacombs underneath Gotham Cemetery, filled with a new army of vampires. He rushes to save Vicky, now armed with a vaccine against the vampirism. One by one, he cures each of the lost ones, rescuing them from Dracula's control. Batman then frees Vicky, and Dracula? He's pissed. Leading to the rematch of the century, Batman versus Dracula. To get the edge over Dracula in his prime, he leads him back to Batcave. Alfred tries injecting Dracula with a vaccine, but apparently you can't cure a natural vampire. Well, oh shit. Don't worry, he wouldn't be called the Batman without a backup plan. Using the machine from earlier, Batman is able to defeat, incinerate Dracula. And he says one of the most raw lines I have ever heard from Batman.
You are Bruce Wayne.
I'm the Batman, and you're dust.
What a badass. I don't even mind Batman breaking his one kill rule because, like, what else was he gonna do? Especially since other interpretations in the past have kind of avoided this anyways. Penguin is freed from Dracula's control, and when chasing after Vicky Vale, he finally finds the hidden treasure. Took him long enough. Batman is cleared of all charges after the Penguin is arrested and blamed for all of Dracula's kidnappings. Batman can now go back to work and do Batman things. The critical response to Batman vs. Dracula is mixed at best. Of course, it's not going to live up to the level of Bruce Timm's Batman the Animated Series universe, but I still think it's a really good movie and severely underrated by most Batman fans. So if you're feeling in the mood for more of a horror movie, but also a superhero movie at the same time, you might want to pick this film up. And on that note...
What am I talking about?
Huh?